Jeez Louise. Staten Island is inconvenient to reach, but I am here. I hope people are sticking around, and there's a ton of radio interference over here. People trying to run me over. All kinds of business. This is terrible. Oh my. Bear with me a second, folks. Let's get through this radio. I don't know what's causing all the radio interference, and I'm a half an hour late because of a problem with the rental car. So, having an irritating day. Let's see if we can pick up with the teacher's manager. Useless audio. Check 1, 2. Okay, we're gonna go with wired audio.
Every single small business owner, to every single person who has been arraigned without benefit of a state legislature. His name is Lou Gellermino, and he is going to come up and tell you the case he filed and where we are with the DOE Karen State.
Called an angel before, and I have to tell you, my teachers would have never agreed to that. It's 12 o'clock. Does anybody think that I or you want to be here doing this right now during Christmas season? Does anybody believe that we actually have to have this conversation? Our kids are not in school. Our kids are not in school. Our kids are not in school, and they want to test our children and pull them out of class. And we have to spend our Saturday telling them that's not right. Who the heck got elected to do this? Who elected these people? Seriously.
Not me.
I mean, how can anybody think that's appropriate? Anybody.
Anyone with a brain?
Anybody. So on a Saturday afternoon, instead of watching our children play basketball, which what we normally would be doing, or playing football, we're spending our time here, or shopping, right? We're spending our time here telling these, I hate idiots. Like, what are you doing? How do you even contemplate something like this? I've been a criminal defense attorney since I started practicing law. I've never sued anybody in my entire life. I'm probably one of the only lawyers that never sued anybody.
Well, now's the
I
time.
never wrote a will,
Now is the time.
and I never sued anybody.
Yep.
But when the business owners called me 9 months ago and asked me for help, I mean, I love to eat at restaurants, obviously, right? And so many of them are friends of mine. My partners and I agreed to help them pro bono. And then when the parents started calling me, again, I never sued anybody. I never sued anybody in my whole legal career.
Saddle up.
And when the parents started calling me and asking me about the mandatory testing, I was like, we gotta take this one on too, because I don't see any of my colleagues doing it. This is why we went to law school, to do this, to prevent the government from overreaching.
That's right.
And I can't believe none of my colleagues have helped out. I'm shocked, to be quite honest with you. Whatever it is. You know, we filed the lawsuit Wednesday. I want to give you an update on the lawsuit. We filed the lawsuit Wednesday in federal court. We requested an immediate injunction to A, for our kids to go back to school, and B, to stop mandatory testing. Lawsuit's about this thick.
Yes.
Praise me.
Yes.
I have to tell you, I got a lot of help on it. My partner, Mark Fonte, James Mingus out in Queens was fantastic. James has been a leader in this from the beginning. We're hoping, because of obviously the pandemic, the courts are shut down, but we're hoping to be heard virtually in the next week or two before the kids go back to school, so we can get them back in school as soon as possible.
Yes.
If we are not successful, we're hoping we are. This is the first time this has ever happened in the history of America. I don't know of any other city that's demanded mandatory testing in class.
Not even in Guatemala.
So yeah, not even in Guatemala, right? So we're hoping we're successful. If we're not, we're prepared to take it right up to the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal. Let them roll. I mean, we are. This is the fight of our lifetime, and I am glad to help out. I am glad Letitia updates me constantly. Hopefully, our next borough president right here, who has been in the front of all these fights and leading people into. Again, it's shocking to me that we even are here discussing this. It's absolutely shocking.
This is America.
So hopefully we'll be successful. I have everybody's email. I think I have thousands of emails. I will communicate by email as soon as we're heard. I'll keep you guys updated. All right. God bless.
Okay, so now we have a true patriot artist, a true activist, someone who has led the charge. I saw him here. Where did he go? I see him. Okay, someone who has led the charge from the get-go. We were together at the first rally in May. He's been doing this for 30 years. He's been speaking out against political correctness and the taking away of our free speech in America, not only in New York City, but across America. And not only in North America, but in South America, in Europe, and in other continents. This man will spread the American message as far and as wide as anyone will listen. And plenty of people listen. I saw him cut himself the other day, and he bled red, white, and blue. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the patriot artist, our Staten Island activist, Mr. America, Scott Levino.
I've been working for the last couple of nights. I haven't slept, as you can see in my face, on my latest painting of, obviously you adults, hopefully not the children, have seen some of my paintings of Mayor de Blasio.
We love it, yeah!
But I've been working on this new piece of Governor Cuomo, which I haven't done yet, so it is a doozy. And I am going to unveil it Wednesday night at my gallery at 172 Newdorp Lane, 6:30. Anybody wants to come by and see this masterpiece? It's a doozy. Children, maybe. But anyway, it's kind of a to heck with you, Mayor and Governor. I'm having a Christmas party. It's going to be outside. I'm going to have heaters and stuff. But anyway, everybody said what they had to say about this. I don't have children. I as a middle child, I don't want the competition. Nah, that's not true. I dedicated my life to, my children are the veterans and the people that don't have a voice to fight. And I put on my brass. I'm being very good because there's children here, those of you who know me. My job is to put a fire, not to put a fire, to light the fire that you have.
Yep.
Okay? For 30 years, I've been warning you people that this day would come. And those who know me saw me on the front page in handcuffs, fighting for this and that, and you didn't understand.
Right.
And it's sad that you understand now.
Yep. Hey.
But I'm an optimist. But there's a little pessimist in me here this is nice that you're here fighting for your children
That's right.
and yourselves.
Our babies.
But,
Yeah.
Yes.
Where is everyone? Exactly.
unfortunately, the fight is going to get harder. It's going to get harder. I'm sorry to say this. And there's only, I hate to bring politics into it, but look what's happening. This radical left movement is here. They want to pull your kid out of class and jam a needle in him without you being there. That's just one tiny aspect of it. It's going to get worse. And forget about your politicians, those big guys. Your local politicians are fighting for you. The mayor and the governor are the most horrible people that I've ever, and I've seen them all. I've met them all.
Horrible.
And you people, unfortunately, are going to have to get a little uglier. You're going to have to get a little more libido-ish, if you know what I'm saying. I'm sorry to say this. I've been doing it 30 years. I want to retire. I want to pass it on to you people. And you know what? I see that. And the good thing is that makes me happy. Because finally, you people, I see people here that would never be out protesting. You're finally out, whether it's the restaurants or you people. So I'm happy about that. Again, the silver lining here is, in the big picture, that there's a takeover happening here. And not our politicians, okay, as much as they try and they help us, but you people are going to be the soldiers. I'm sorry to say it, but you're going to be the soldiers. So all I'm asking you to do is keep the fire in your belly.
This is only the beginning.
That's it. Keep the fire in your belly, because this is a battle and it's going to get bigger. But we will win, because we're Americans.
That's right.
Don't give up the ship.
Don't give up the ship.
Don't give up the ship!
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, remember something very important. You cannot govern those that don't consent to be governed. So we have to give consent in order for our government to operate. And that's what we are doing here today, saying we don't give you consent to act as our children's parents. We are their parents. And if you can't deliver what you told us you would deliver, and we have it here, our counter offer to Mayor de Blasio, who is in total control of the school system. He told us some time ago, in the 1990s, in 2000, they took control of the school, and the city of New York said, this is what we're going to give for you to enroll your kids into school. We expect you to have a certain code of conduct as a parent, and here's what we'll deliver. But somewhere along the way, because of a pandemic, it was decided that, well, we're going to only deliver what the UFT tells us we could deliver. We're only going to deliver what the unions tell us to deliver. We're only going to deliver what the contractors tell us to deliver. We're not going to deliver what we promised to the parents that we were going to deliver. What were they delivering? 5-day-a-week in-person school with extracurricular activities. That's what we signed up for when we entered our kids into the Department of Education system. But somewhere in the middle, they decided to turn it around. And they're not even following the CDC guidelines. They're making up rules as they go along. Okay? This is crazy. So the mayor negotiated with the UFT, and the UFT got what they wanted.
Yep.
Now the parents are going to negotiate with the mayor. Yep. And here's what we want. 5 days a week, in-person classes. We want extracurricular activities.
Yep.
We want testing according to CDC guidelines.
Yep.
And only with the parent present for those who want to be present. If the parent feels comfortable to have their kid tested without a parent present, that's fine.
Right.
But for those parents that don't feel comfortable, they should either be allowed to be present or be allowed to have the child tested on the same day and bring it back to the school the next day. Why not?
Why not?
Every other medical procedure is done that way. They won't even issue your child aspirin without you being involved. So without us being involved.
No, it's not.
So
Controlled experiment.
they're talking about data collection for the greater good of the community.
Whatever.
And no one here disagrees with having testing done.
Nope.
No one here does. But our children are not lab rats.
Yeah, right.
Our children are their bosses because they're being educated. Their jobs wouldn't be there if it wasn't for our children and our tax dollars. So let's remember that. Now, I started out telling you that I was a PTA mom. And I was a PTA mom because I had 2 children. And now I have a grandchild. And it is my very great pleasure to introduce to you social media personality who I happen to raise. Her name is Jen Romaro, and she's the mother of my grandson, and she is a New York City education mom. Woo! Jen Romaro.
Hello, everybody.
Show your shirt.
Thank my shirt. Yes. Fuck de Blasio. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm sure you.
Get Cuomo.
I forgot there were kids here. I forgot. Listen. I usually am in the back end of all of this. My mother has been an activist, politician, doing all this, and I've always been watching from the back. And I would never usually be at a rally like this, but the past year I've seen our city decline, our country decline. Totally decline by people who don't care. Mayor de Blasio has his own child who he can't control, but he wants to control our children.
Yeah, right.
And he can't control her.
Leave our parents.
In 2017 to 18, the flu season took 172 lives of children under the age of 18. In 2020, COVID, as of July 2020, they said that 20 children under the age of 18 have passed away due to COVID. But again, we don't know if it's COVID. We don't know how anyone dies nowadays because everything seems to be COVID. There's no more heart attacks. There's no more overdoses. There's no more strokes. You get into a car accident, you die of COVID. They're all in it to make money. But if 172 children died of influenza, how come flu shots aren't mandatory in the schools? How come? It's because big...
Don't even say it. Plant the seed.
Don't give them any ideas. Nothing should be mandated. Absolutely nothing. It's our right. I want you to, in 1912, Theodore Roosevelt gave an amazing speech. And I just want to read this to you and leave you with this. It's called The Right of the People to Rule.
Right, Jen.
The great fundamental issue now before our people can be stated briefly. It is, are the American people fit to govern themselves, to rule themselves, to control themselves? I believe they are.
Amen.
My opponents do not. I believe in the right of the people to rule. I believe that the majority of the plain people of the United States will day in and day out make fewer mistakes in governing themselves than any smaller class of body of men, no matter what their training, will make in trying to govern them. I believe again that the American people are as a whole capable of self-control and of learning by their own mistakes. They are not allowing us to learn. They are forcefully doing this to us. They're using your children, my child. I will not have that at all. Two people in the UK got the COVID vaccination and had severe allergic reactions. But yet they're being distributed and they want to use our children as the first group of people, our small children.
Freedom of choice.
It's freedom of choice. We have no, it is. We lost it. And unless everybody stands up and stands up for their rights, it's going to be taken away. That's it. If you just listen and conform, you might as well just die, because that's what I would rather live free than die not free.
Right.
So thank you. Do not conform. Do not be sheep. The more voices heard, I'm telling you, it changes. And I say this every day to people like Scott, Tina 40, who happens to be one of my good friends. Woo! People are like, oh, you do your rants on social media. But you know what? When you look at the things that we rant about and we just repetitively go and pound, some of those things change. You know, I spend my days abusing this man. The worst mayor ever. He is the worst mayor ever. And we abuse his wife, who was running for borough president, who stole money from, where's all that money, right? All the homeless on the streets. And guess what? She's no longer running for borough president.
Thank you.
You know, you keep going. Cuomo, he was taking a raise. We badgered him online on social media day in and day out. Guess what? He's not taking the money. So keep going. Go online. You know, write to them. Do whatever you can. Just do not conform, people. And thank you very much. Stay safe. God bless the USA. Okay.
Enough is enough.
Freedom of choice.
Well, since she mentioned it, incoming announcement. 378 days until Bill de Blasio is no longer our mayor.
Lock him up. Lock him up. Lock him up. Lock him up. Get the cuffs.
Next time.
Stop the video.
Fatal familiar.
Our next speaker is Katerina Gilardi. Katerina is New York Teachers for Choice Steering Committee member. She is an organizer of this rally, and she's going to tell us where they are on the teachers' side of things. Christina, thank you and every other great teacher in America for educating our kids. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm just going to take this off because I wear glasses and I can't see. I will.
Get it,
If
girl.
you go in that right straight in, you can.
Alrighty.
It's up
Thank
to
you.
you.
So, as you guys know, my name, I don't need this.
Okay.
My name is Katerina, and I'm here on behalf of New York Teachers for Choice. I just want to thank you guys all for being here and thank Michael Caine for organizing New York Teachers for Choice, because without him, I wouldn't be here. And I am just the middleman, so I wouldn't be here without him. This isn't easy for the parents, the teachers, staff, and most importantly, and especially the children. So coming here during all of this craziness during the holiday season to support really is appreciated. I want to start off with saying that New York Teachers for Choice is pro-choice on medical procedures.
Pro-choice.
We're not anti-testing and we're not anti-vaccine. We are pro-choice on medical procedures. I want to bring up some points regarding testing and vaccines. So in regards to testing, New York Teachers for Choice sued the New York City Department of Education on Monday for privacy rights violations surrounding the specimens collected in school COVID testing.
Yes.
Fulgent Genetics is one of the main laboratories that the DOE has contracted with to provide staff and students with testing. Fulgent Genetics owns a library of genetic information. That being said, it is highly possible that they are profiting off of the collection of the DNA specimens. It appears that in court, we are close to getting the New York City Department of Education to ensure that our specimens will not be cataloged by Fulgent Genetics or anyone else. However, there still are at least 2 secret contracts that govern in-school COVID testing that the public has not been able to see. How can they force a medical procedure on us in public schools when they are keeping these contracts a secret? How in the world is the UFT not demanding these contracts be released? These are public documents. What are they hiding?
Exactly. Yep.
Also, this past Wednesday, Children's Health Defense filed a case in federal court which is challenging all mandatory in-school COVID testing as being illegal, immoral, and unscientific. New York Teachers for Choice has been assisting the attorneys on that case for weeks. We have more information about that lawsuit in the update section of our website. Medical procedure. Sorry.
I'll try and hold it.
Thank you.
Okay?
Repeat the child
Straight
health
in.
defense.
You want me to repeat the child health?
You gotta go right up.
All right.
That's big.
Last Wednesday, Children's Health Defense filed a case in federal court which is challenging all mandatory in-school COVID testing as being illegal, immoral, and unscientific.
Amen. Illegal, immoral.
New York Teachers for Choice has been assisting the attorneys on that case for weeks. We have more information about that lawsuit on the update section of our website. Medical procedures should never be performed on a child without a parent present.
It must stop, and it must end now.
Hey, that was good, Letitia. That was good. Do it again. Do it again.
Procedure.
We're not saying that we don't want to test or the children to test. However, there is no reason why we cannot go to a testing site or primary care physician of our own choice. We don't know how qualified the staff performing these tests are. Who are they? Are they doctors? Are they nurses? Were they hired off the street? How do we know? The DOE has given us none of this information.
Free country!
What is the logic of punishing students by revoking their education and punishing staff by sending them on unpaid leave if you are only testing 20% of the building to begin with?
Coercion of minors
What is the logic
and adults.
of testing only 20% of staff either way? It doesn't make sense. My next Few points are regarding the vaccines, so buckle up. Mulgrew mentioned a vaccine could be mandatory to keep our jobs on a town hall meeting. As we know, testing became mandatory, so I would not be shocked if this was the case with the vaccine. Again,
It should be a choice.
Again, we're not anti-vax. However, we are against the mandate of the COVID-19 vaccine. We believe that as an American, you should have the right to choose.
My body, my choice! Right. My body, my choice.
Yes.
Amen.
Either way, here are some things to consider regarding this particular
Risk-based
vaccine.
choice, yes.
On average, a vaccine can take anywhere from 7 to 15 years to develop safety and efficacy data for them. This one has come out in under 9 months at Operation Warp Speed.
Please.
The long-term data will not exist to know the potential harms that this can cause, especially since it has skipped necessary phases of safety trials. Mandating this vaccine violates Nuremberg Code, which is based on voluntary consent through the free power of choice without intervention of force, fraud, deceit, duress, overreaching, or ulterior form of constraint or coercion. This pertains to both the vaccine and testing. Regarding the testing, we don't know what's happening with our DNA. And regarding the vaccine, we don't know the long-term effects because the safety trials were skipped. So do we really have the ability to voluntarily consent without knowing these key components?
No.
Plus, our pay and our children's education is being threatened if we refuse.
No
Last
liability.
time, yep, no liability. Last time I checked, coercion was not consent. During the swine flu epidemic of 1976, there was a fast-track vaccine. This vaccine actually killed many Americans and gave them GBS, which caused paralysis. We should not let history repeat itself here. Under the PrEP Act, the vaccine companies will not be liable if you become injured from this vaccine. During the trials, there were reports of transverse myelitis and have been recent reports of Bell's palsy. Healthcare workers have already suffered injury from the new Pfizer COVID vaccine. They suffered anaphylactic shock and were hospitalized for 2 days. Both women had no history of allergies and were deemed to be good candidates. Pfizer did warn that anyone with a history of allergy should not take the vaccine. If you become injured, you will not be compensated for your pain and suffering either way. COVID-19 has a death rate of under 1%. Over 99% of those who get infected will be able to heal without a vaccine. And there are therapeutics that do a very good job of treating COVID patients.
Choice, choice, choice.
Right.
Sorry, choice.
Exactly.
We're not downplaying the virus. However, people are recovering without a vaccine, and these are just the facts. Forcing a vaccine only causes distrust. Forcing a vaccine where there is no liability for potential adverse reactions, injury, or illness does not send a promising message to the people. Neither does mandating it for staff to keep their jobs and parents to keep their children enrolled in school. It is your free and sovereign right to choose what's best for you and your body.
That's right.
yeah.
Free and sovereign.
The government is responsible for protecting our freedoms. We are each responsible for protecting our own health and making the necessary choices to do so.
Yes.
We, the people, should be making those choices for our own bodies, not our child schools or our employers. That being said, we are pro-choice on medical procedures, and we should be
Pro-choice.
allowed to choose based on the posing risks. We just want the freedom to choose.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Freedom of choice.
Yes.
Freedom of choice.
Yes.
Freedom of choice. Freedom of choice. Sorry, Kathy.
Freedom of choice.
Freedom of choice. Freedom of choice. Freedom of choice.
I also have some words. I'm sorry that was very lengthy, but I could have never have memorized that. I do have something on behalf of Michael Caine, who is the man responsible for the New York Teachers for Choice. So he wanted to say thank you all so much for being here to support teachers, parents, and students of New York City. On Monday, New York Teachers for Choice sued the New York City Department of Education over privacy rights of violations from in-school COVID testing. We assisted a parent lawsuit filed on Wednesday suing the New York City DOE to stop forced in-school COVID testing. And we helped organize this protest at the UFT office this weekend.
Yes.
It's been a busy week.
Wow.
The New York City Department of Education knows who we are and what we're doing. The UFT knows who we are and what we're doing.
Yeah.
And trust me when I tell you, they are scared of our growing political power.
Yes.
No forced COVID vaccines for teachers or students. No forced flu shots for teachers or students. No forced medical mandates. Stay tuned on NewYorkTeachersForChoice.org for updates. We also have an Instagram. It's NY Teachers for Choice 2020. Thank you all for being here. Happy holidays, and let's fight the good fight.
Thank you. That was
Beautiful.
okay. So there's a new sign that has popped up behind me. And if you take a look at it, it's really, really important. It's an assembly bill by Assemblywoman Linda Rosenthal that's currently in committee. This bill will mandate that all New Yorkers, unless they have an exemption from their doctor, must be vaccinated with the COVID-19 vaccine if the numbers rise and if the governor says so. Our next speaker is going to tell you all about it. She has led the fight for no vaccines without choice for our school children. You heard her in 2018 asking us to stand with her, and we did. And now she's here. And now she's here to save our rear ends. Christine Zaliga.
Thank you, everybody. John Gilmore, get up here. This is the man you want to know about. This is John Gilmore. He is part of the New York chapter of Children's Health Defense that nice young lady just talked about. This man, we call him the OG, the original gangster. He fights New York State legislation. He gives us all the intel. His network is Autism Action Network. That's what started it. And I just wanted to introduce you. You stay right here because I have a lot to say. Thank you, Letitia, for acknowledging that nobody stood with us.
I stood with you.
You stood with us. I am part of a group of parents across New York State and New York City that had a religious exemption.
Give it back.
I want it back.
We lost it.
We lost it. Okay,
Yes.
we're a passionate group of parents, and we are growing.
Yes.
What happened? We've been fighting. When the blue wave came into New York, we fought it because we knew we were going to lose it because they want to chip away at your First Amendment. They're going after free speech. They're going after the press, and they came after a religion. And I had a religious exemption. They took it, and my son's not in school.
That's right.
And guess what? My son has been vaccinated.
They kicked him out.
And I'm his mother. And I say what goes. The government has no business being in between me and my child or me and the doctor.
Correct. That's right.
They're using the fear of public health to feed you propaganda, and that fear was the measles last year. Do you guys remember that little outbreak? Well, they used that to take away my religious exemption.
That's right.
But we did. We fell upon deaf ears. On social media, the parents, we got destroyed. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
They said, your children are a walking disease.
Yeah.
If you don't want to vaccinate, don't put them in school.
Yeah.
Now you guys are standing here with me feeling the pain because we saw this coming. We knew they were coming for you.
Yes.
For 2 years, we were saying, guys, get involved.
Yeah.
They're going to come for you. You're rolling up your kid's sleeve, but you're not rolling up yours. But now, suddenly, you're seeing that you're going to have to roll up your sleeve for this. A fast-track vaccine, one that none of you want. I mean, if you want it, go for it. Learn the science. I'm not here to tell you about science. It's your choice. It's called My Body, My my choice.
Correct.
Where's that group? And by the way,
My body,
My body,
That's
my
right.
choice.
my body, my choice. And guess what?
My choice.
Correct.
Can somebody tell me where did the flu go? You guys understand the
Disappeared.
It's hanging out, having a cocktail on the beach somewhere. Because right now we're dealing with the corona propaganda.
Right. It's gone.
It's a playbook. Listen, I'm sorry, guys. The Democrats went very far to the left. Yes, I said it. They went very far to the
Too
left.
far.
And this is their playbook.
That's correct.
All right. Let me see. All right. I want to say something to you guys. In 1986, Big Pharma, I don't know if you guys are aware of the 1986 National Children's Vaccine Injury Act. You guys are, all right, so Big Pharma has blanket, they are free of liability. But the pediatric schedule, does it pertain to the corona? Yes, it does under the PrEP Act. Just so you guys know, if you get harmed, there's nothing you can do about it.
Thank you, Fauci.
So from birth, that's right.
cannot
From
sue a
birth,
pharmaceutical
so
company.
for the pediatric schedule, if you give your child the flu vaccine from birth until around 17, 18 years old, your children would have had 72 doses of vaccines.
72.
And guess what? Because of the 1986 Act, more are coming down the pipeline.
That's right.
And
200 coming. 200 coming.
All right.
We need this.
So like I said, first they came for the kids, now they're coming for you. And Bill A 11179, Linda Rosenthal, put it into action. The bill to mandate a corona vaccine on every single New York City and state resident. And there's no way out. You know why? Because they took the religious exemption and you can't get a medical exemption. Did you guys know that? And if you're in private school, you're not safe either. Okay? Right now, I'm homeschooling, and 30,000 other New York State children are being homeschooled. John Gilmore is the man you want to follow, and I would like for him to say something
hero.
off of what I was talking about. Come on in, John Gilmore.
Thank you.
Love this man. Love this man.
How do you follow that? Thank you. That I was going to say has already been said. I don't want to get repetitive here, but there's a couple things I want to leave you with. It's like the people were saying earlier, if we're going to stop this, we've got to stop it. No one's going to do it for us. Okay,
Amen.
we've got to push our legislators, we got to push the media, and we got to push our unions. How many of you guys are UFT people here? A lot of UFT. How about
Stand
other
up and
unions?
Fight back.
Okay.
Fight back.
Folks over there, we got some of New York's finest. We got some of New York's finest. Thank you very much, New York's finest. I want to tell you something. What we want here is what you guys already got.
That's
right.
Okay? Because your union to the NYPD said, no, our guys are going to have a choice. Fire department did the same thing. From what I'm hearing, the correction officers, the sanitation department, and the MTA are going to do the exact same thing. Okay? So if half of the public unions already got this, why does the UFT have to do it? Who are these guys looking out for? Are they looking out for you? Are they looking out for your kids? Or are they looking out for pharma and the Democratic Party?
Yes.
That's who they're looking out for.
Stuffing their pockets.
And stuffing their pockets.
Wait, can I say something? I want to say
How
something.
can I stop you?
Stay right here. Kate Cuomo took a $48 million payoff from Merck, and that's why we lost our religious exemption. And immediately following was the mandate to not give you a medical exemption. Let me hand it back over.
Thank you so much. Okay. Christine told you about what happened with the measles and the religious exemption. That was just a step, folks. This is the next step, okay? Because they are not going to stop here.
Nope.
This is just opening the door. Because what they want is control over what goes into your body.
I don't
All they
think
want
so.
to do is come up with something that they think they can make some money off of and use the power of the government to make all of you have to buy it, put it into your bodies, and put it into your kids because it's fantastically profitable.
Exactly.
Okay, for the last 20 years, vaccines have been the fastest growing area of the drug industry, right? They're accounting for 25% of all their profits right now. This is all about money, folks.
Exactly.
There's 4 companies, Glaxo, Merck, Pfizer, which is headquartered up on 42nd Street, and Sanofi. Those 4 companies control almost 90% of all the vaccines made in the entire world, okay? We talk about Cuomo, he's awful. He's got to go. We're talking about de Blasio, he's awful. They got to go. But who are they working for? Okay? They're the bag men.
Yep.
They're the puppets. They're doing what they're paid, okay? They're going to go, they're going to be replaced by someone else, but the big 4 is still going to be there, and that's who we're going to have to focus on, all right?
Okay.
And this is the way they do it, all right? These bills,
Sneaky.
right? Pay attention to those, folks. You need to get active on those. You got to talk to your legislators about those and let them know that you don't want it and you're not going to go along with it no matter what. If they pass that law, you're going to disobey.
That's right.
Because the big difference now, folks, back when Christine was fighting for the religious exemption, that was a tiny minority. But the polls, even if you believe the polls for what they're worth, guess what, folks? We are the majority.
That's right.
Okay?
Yes.
We are the majority now. The majority of the people do not want these things, or they're going to wait and see what happens to somebody else before they get it.
Choice.
And it's a really good reason to wait. Because all kinds of stuff are happening now, right? Bell's palsy, people just dropping dead,
Yeah.
seizures.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because why? They didn't test these things. You guys are the lab rats, right?
Disgusting.
So I'll just leave you with that. Pay attention to these bills. Go to Children's Health Defense.
Woo!
That's where I work.
Amen.
We filed the bill last week to stop to get the kids back in school, to stop the test. We got a
Do
whole
it.
bunch of other lawsuits going.
Let's do it.
Also, we're on Facebook as well. Get involved, get in touch. Thanks very much.
Thank you. And they work for you. The representatives work for you. Remember that. So don't fear to call them and tell them no to A11179. Thank you.
And get a button before you leave. I got him.
Okay, so this is important, and the one thing that John and Christina said was that we need to talk to our legislators about this, and we do. And so now I want to introduce you to someone who knows a lot about the education system, especially the education system on Staten Island. Guess why? Because he was the former CEC chair of District 31, and he is currently running for city council. But the bonus is he homeschooled his children. So he knows exactly everything that's going on with us today, with all of us. His name is Sam Parazola. He's a dear friend. And Sam Parazola for City Council, please come up and say a few words.
Hey everybody, thank you for being here. It's amazing that the retention of parents is still great. Lou, I want to shout out to Lou, thank you, but you know what? People did step on Staten Island. Attorneys have stepped up like yourself, restaurant owners have stepped up, small business people have stepped up. But you know what? Where are the politicians? What happened to the city council? Where is the legislation pushing back against the mayor wanting to do this? Why isn't the speaker of the city council, why isn't the city council saying, hey, you cannot do this to our children? They represent us. We have representation here from every borough and Long Island, and one young man took a bus from the Bronx just to get here. And New Jersey, okay. So yes, my name is Sam Parazzolo. I have homeschooled my children, and there's a lot of talk about that. I do have a website that's samforstatenisland.com, and if you have questions about homeschooling, those pages should be up there, okay? I really can't imagine you're going to harm your kids any more than the harm that they've gone through by not being allowed to go to school, okay? Schools are our children's workplace. This is where we're required to send our children. If we don't send our children to school, they send the police to your home. What other workplace in New York City or in this country is mandated that they have to have COVID tests? If I tell one of my employees, you must have a COVID test, I am wrong. I cannot tell my employee, you cannot come back to work until you show me a negative result. Dr. Varma was on a CEC meeting a few weeks ago, and he clearly contradicted himself. But before I get into the contradiction, let me let you know that I asked who he works for. He's being paid by the federal government. So I'm going to tie that into what happens to these test results. Who has access to these test results? But Dr. Varma first stated that we're doing this to keep everyone safe. But then in the end of the conversation, he said, well, it's really not about safety, it's about the data. We want to be able to predict what there are clusters. And they're using your children as guinea pigs. Again, not the first time. They've done it with Scholastic, they've done it with testing, they've done it with Common Core. They do it again and again and again. The test that they're using now is supposed to be an outside-the-nose swab, the least invasive, which means it's the least accurate test. So what the hell are they doing? This rally is not about anti-COVID. This is not about anti-testing. I don't see why a parent can't get a test from their pediatrician and bring it into school. Where is our city representation? Why are they not, what happened to the $850 million for Thrive New York? What happened to the $850 million to find out why some schools are not educating their children? This mayor is spending or hiding or stealing, whatever you want, money like crazy. Now, somebody said it's only 376 days till he's gone. That's great, but we have to live with his policies for years. For years we're going to be fighting this stuff. So we need to take a stand. There is nobody who stands up for the parents. I am the vice president of the New York City Parents Union, and I am here standing with the New York City DOE Parents Coalition. This is what we want from the mayor. Okay, this young lady said it well before, and I want to hear it again. I do not consent. Let me hear it. I do not consent. We do not consent.
We do not consent. We do not consent. We do not consent. We do not consent. We do not consent.
This is coercion to send our children back to school. My son is in high school. He hasn't been in a school for a couple of months. There is nothing that the governor, that the mayor, that Fauci, that anybody has told us that has not been withdrawn, has not been contradicted, and has not been changed. You can go to the CDC website, and it clearly tells you that you are not supposed to test people more than every 2 or 3 months. It's illegal. It's immoral. It's unethical to do that. Yet de Blasio wants to randomly test your children whenever he wants with a company that we don't know anything about. There is no communication. So this is what we want. This is what that lawsuit is about. You want our kids in school? You need to sit down with parents. Finally, we deserve a seat at the table. We need to be there. I don't know why he's talking to Mulgrew. I don't know what medical degrees he has. But if Mulgrew can be there, I can be there. I have children. These are my children. They're not your children. Screw you. We want a seat at the table. Thank you.
I'm sorry, he's usually more animated than that. Our next speaker wants control of our New York City school system. That's what he's running for. And that's what he wants. Oh, wow. His name is Bill Pepitone, and if he is elected mayor of New York City, he will be the head of this school system in New York City. He came here today to listen to what we wanted him to hear, and now he's going to tell us what he thinks about it. Mr. Pepitone.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming out. First, a nice round of applause for our organizers today, Letitia and David.
Thank you.
And how about another round of applause for Jake? Where's Jake? Well done, everybody. Well done. You know, 2020 has taught us a lot of lessons. The most important lesson is that we've taken our God-given rights for granted. And we've learned that lesson the hard way in 2020. Every day, they are taking away more rights and more freedoms. Now, they are taking away our right to earn a living. The right to feed our families, to put a roof over our families' homes, to pay our bills, to have a nice, great quality of life that we all deserve.
Amen.
They went after small business owners, restaurants, bars, right here on Staten Island, not too far from here. And now they're attacking our teachers and our educators. Where are our teachers here today? Thank you.
Right here.
Thank you for coming out. We appreciate it. They want to take your livelihood away unless you comply with mandatory testing. Unless you submit to mandatory vaccination down the line. Comply. Submit. What's next? Obey?
Right.
We do not comply. I will
We do not comply.
We do not comply. We do not comply. We will not comply.
We do not comply.
All we have to do is not comply.
That's right.
We don't comply.
Comply, submit, obey. That is not America. That sounds like communism to me.
That's right. That's exactly what it sounds like.
Freedom of choice.
Freedom of choice.
Freedom of choice.
And where is the UFT on this? Where are they?
This is the worst part about it.
Nowhere.
Like the gentleman said before, the PBA is not forcing their members to take this.
Correct.
The UFA is not. COBRA is not.
No.
Why is the UFT doing this? Their job is to protect their membership,
Absolutely.
not to make side deals and be in bed with Bill de Blasio.
That's right. That's right. And that's what it looks like. It looks
Our
like
children, okay? Our children, our future.
Yes.
They are using our children's future,
And help.
their health,
Yes.
their education as leverage in a fight for governmental control.
This is crime.
They want to control all of us, and they want to control our children, their education,
That's right.
and their health. After what we've been through this year, do we trust elected officials or government officials with our children's health?
No.
That is our responsibility as parents. That is our responsibility. That is our choice. That is not Bill de Blasio's choice. That is not Governor Cuomo's choice. And it's certainly not Michael Mulgrew's choice.
Definitely not.
It's ours.
Come on, please.
rights.
Right.
That's right. Your choice.
Parents call the shots.
This is a fight, ladies and gentlemen. Like Scott Lebedo said before, this is a battle.
This is war.
It is a war. We are coming to a war because they're trying to take our rights away every single day. Our children deserve the right to be in class. Our teachers deserve the right to be in front of them in class, safely. Of course, safely. But they have the right, they should have the right to choose. And we have, as parents, we as adults, we as Americans have the right to make that choice, not our politicians.
That's right. We're taking everything.
As Letitia said before, I am running for mayor of New York City. I am the Republican conservative candidate. And as of right now, as of this moment, I am the only candidate who has vowed to stand up to this nonsense and fight for you. To fight for freedom of choice. And we're going to continue to fight, and we're going to fight together.
Yes.
Amen.
Again, Scott Lebedo said this is a battle, so in that spirit, I want to paraphrase a great United States naval commander from yesteryear. We have not yet begun to fight. We're going to continue to fight. God bless. Merry Christmas. Keep fighting for choice.
Tell us your mayor's
That was great.
website.
Bill Pepitone for NewYorkCityMayor.com.
All right, something important for you to know before I call up Rob DeLuca, the head of IROAR, who's the Independent Restaurant Owners Association Rescue. They're demanding that they be able to test our kids, the chancellor and the mayor, be able to test our kids without us being there. And they're testing the teachers all on the same day because they say they want a controlled environment. I can understand somewhat some of that because they want to get a snapshot of the community. You know who they're not testing? The bus drivers, the matrons, the lunch people that come and bring the delivery people. So how do you have a controlled environment when you're not testing the people you control? You don't control our kids, you educate our kids. That's the difference. They don't control our kids, and we have to remind them of that. And every time you think, you might be looking around this crowd and go, well, there's not the same thousands that were there at Max, and there's not the same thousands that were there marching in the city on Friday, and maybe I'm, just too tired. Just remember something. When those men, and yes, some women, who were about age 30, got together in that tavern to decide that they were no longer going to be they weren't going to pay taxes to King George of England because he wasn't here and he didn't know what they were going through, but he wanted to control them. He wanted to tell them what to do. And when those people got together, they weren't rich, they were poor. They were regular people. They were working class people, just like us. Some of them were educated, some of them weren't. They were probably drunk. But guess what? What they started was the revolution that gave birth to this country. So the next time somebody asks you to come out and you go, I don't know how many people are going to be there. It's cold. I want to watch basketball. You remember that if those men and women didn't come out to that tavern to start this dialogue, we would never be here today. And what we're doing today is just as important as what they did then, because now we're fighting to protect what they began. And if we don't continue to fight, it's going to be taken away. So without further ado, because he speaks so much better than I do, and it's true, the founder of IROAR, you might have seen his latest video on for DeLuca's Italian restaurant where he was dining out in the snow. My friend, my fellow patriot, someone that I am so grateful to know, Robert DeLuca, DeLuca's Italian restaurant.
Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you all the speakers who spoke today. You did such a great job, I forgot that I was supposed to speak, and I just became a fan. And Letitia said it perfectly, and if you don't think that's why restaurants and bars are closed, it's because they know that we're going to get together again, and we're going to overthrow them, and we're not going to let them do this. We are not going to let them control our families, our children, our businesses. Enough is enough. This is the United States of America. We are a free country, and as Ronald Reagan said, if we lose freedom here, there will be no freedom left on planet Earth. Now, I'm not somebody who knows so much about the education system, but I know what it's like to own a business. I'm 31 years old. I got more degrees than a thermometer. But guess what? If it wasn't for going to school and developing the education that I had in person, and I didn't develop the social skills that these children need, I would not be the restaurant owner, the speaker that I am today. These kids need to go back to school. You are the parents. I don't have any children, but I came here today to support your children, like you and your children and your family support my business. Okay? And future children who are going to be future busboys and servers at my restaurant someday. These kids have to go back to school. They have to go back to in-person learning, and you as parents, you have a choice. I can see everyone here. This is a pro-choice group. My body, my choice, right? My body, my choice.
My choice. My body, my choice.
Right. My body, my choice. Your body, your choice. His body, his choice.
That's right. You tell him, Danny.
We can't forget you.
Screaming that at a microphone. It's not every day you get that, but
They're not even open. They need to open them. They're not even open.
I have busboys who work for me. They're not in school right now. They go to public schools, Catholic schools. They're not in school right now.
They're dumbing down America.
These kids need to go to school. They need to understand. They need to develop their social skills. This is all wrong what they're doing. The UFT is terrorizing your kids. They're terrorizing my business because they made up that 3% number that we kept circling. Oh, I hope we don't go above 3%. Well, 3% happened. Your kids aren't going to school. I can't put you in my restaurant. So it's all BS. It's a made-up number that the UFT has made up. Kids need to go to school. It's your body, your choice. You decide if you want to vaccinate them or not. I don't want to take up too much time. It is, every rally keeps getting colder and colder. They're getting colder and colder, Letitia. But if I can give you one message to the parents, don't stop fighting for your kids. I'm not going to stop fighting for your business. And IROAR is all for you guys, just like you are for us. Thank you, everybody, so much for coming, and thank you, Letitia.
Thank you, Rob. And if you have last-minute Christmas shopping, remember, go to your small restaurant, mom and pop restaurant, get a gift card, give it to your friends, even a $20 gift card. It matters, and that's how we're going to keep them in business, because we're not going to let this governor and this mayor shut down our restaurants. They belong to us. We need them. They stand with us. We stand with them. And now, small business owners, every single one of them. How many small business owners are here today? All right, so just a few of us. You know, it is our small business is the fabric of our community. And do you know that 60% of small businesses will close and never open again due to COVID? Due to a virus that has a 98% survival rate. Think about that. Okay, I hear all kinds, but I know it's better than 98, all right? So depending on your community. But think about that. We gave up our freedom. Cardiac arrest deaths have doubled since we had the lockdown. Suicides are up. 40% more children, teenagers think about committing suicide now than they have in the past. Think about that. I could statistic you all day about this virus. And oh, by the way, I don't doubt that it happened. I had it, and I donate my antibodies. And why do I donate my antibodies? Because it makes people well. So you know what? If they stopped scaring the heck out of us and started going on television every day and going, hey, you 98% that survived, can you please donate it? 99% that survived, can you donate your antibodies? We might be in better shape right now, right? Okay. So next, Dr. Lauren, are you going to come up to speak? I want to introduce, all right, now listen, come on. I introduced you to my daughter before. This is my other daughter. She lived next door in the block, and I watched her grow up. She was always brilliant, always caring, and now she's a holistic doctor. I forget her last name. I know it's Irish, but her original last name was Radolinsky. Now it's Leahy. Dr. Lauren Leahy is a holistic doctor here on Staten Island. She's going to talk to us about why vaccines aren't good for everybody. Dr. Leahy.
Okay. I did not know that I was speaking. So this is COVID's survivability rate is 99.74%. That is straight from the CDC's website. You can find all the information I'm going to tell you if you go to their website. Vaccines. This vaccine skipped phase 1 animal trials. In previous coronavirus animal trials, when animal trials can take it a step further. They vaccinate the animals get antibodies. And then, because they're animals, we can then put them near the COVID virus to see what happens to them if they get that virus. When they did that in previous COVID studies, as for the last 20 years, the animals had what is called antibody-dependent reactions, and their body overreacts, and they go into multi-organ failure, and they die. In this COVID study, they skipped phase 1 trials. They did not test this on animals. They tested it straight phase 2 on people. They've never tested any vaccine for mutagenesis, which is causing changes in your DNA. They've never tested any vaccine if they're safe in pregnancy. They've never tested any vaccine to see that they're not cancer causing. These are things that need to be done in order for something to be considered safe. These things have not been done with this vaccine. It is completely experimental, and if you want to take it, that's your choice. You are taking part in a clinical trial right now. This clinical trial does not end until October of 2022, and you can read that on their trial data. So, if you take this vaccine now, you are part of this trial because it doesn't end for another 2 years. And if you don't want to take this and you want to see what happens, that's your choice. I'm also not only a naturopathic doctor, like she told you, I work for the UFT. I'm a teacher. It is my choice. I do not want to lose my money and not be paid because I say, no, you can't perform a medical procedure on me. It's really just crazy. I don't want to go off on a rant, so I'm going to stop there. I don't know where I'd go from here. Please look this information up yourself. If you want links, I have links I can email you, send you to websites for the CDC, for Pfizer, for Moderna, for all the studies, because I have them in my phone and I read them constantly.
What about the mRNA aspect of the vaccine?
Okay, so that is a big reason why this is experimental at this point. We have never had an mRNA vaccine work. I forget her name.
Never been given to a human before.
Never been given to a human before. The same thing happened, somebody mentioned earlier, the dengue vax. Dengue vaccine caused this antibody immune reaction in people when they gave it. The RSV vaccine that they tried to do many years ago caused the same problems. At this point, these people getting this vaccine, when they come into contact with another coronavirus, which is a common cold, which might come again next year, COVID-20, we don't know how their immune system is going to react because they've now taken this experimental vaccine. This mRNA vaccine, if it does what it did to the animals, there are chances that next year when somebody comes in contact with the coronavirus, they're going to have this overreaction of their immune system and they're going to die. We could be seeing thousands of deaths next year, millions of deaths next year. We have no idea.
Will they connect it to the vaccine?
Nope.
So, vaccines have been connected to more allergies, more asthma, more autoimmune problems. They have been, even in the vaccine court, connected to autism. So, there are many things that can come from this, and right now there are so many unknowns that we have so many unknowns that it's impossible to fathom at this point.
No other mRNA vaccine has ever been licensed for human
Never.
use in this country.
Never.
So nobody standing here ever received Ebola in Africa only.
It's designed
Ebola
to
in
change your
Africa.
DNA.
It is designed to
RNA
go
resequence.
into your DNA, tell your body to make an antibody to the spike protein. That spike protein also looks very similar to another protein that causes mammals to keep the placenta in their body when they carry babies. So there's a chance that this, because it's so similar in structure to the spike protein on the COVID vaccine, that it could also go after, I think it's called MERV2. I don't remember the name of it, but it could go after the protein that holds a placenta in the human body. It could cause you to be sterile for the rest of your life. It could cause your children to be sterile for the rest of their lives. It is unknown. There are so many unknowns at this point. It's unfathomable. Your choice.
Will they ever let us know? Will they, mainstream media, will they ever talk about these bad, harmful side effects, doctor?
70 to 90% of the advertising on the mainstream television comes from pharmaceuticals. So if the pharmaceutical company doesn't want you to know something, You won't hear about it on mainstream TV. You have to seek this information out on your own. And no one is going to tell you this. My family is so annoyed at me. My son tells me, vaccines, vaccines, vaccines. And I tell him that if we don't fight now, we are ruining the future for generations. Please speak up, please speak out, please make your choice. Don't listen to me, read for yourself, learn for yourself, and make an educated, informed choice.
Freedom of choice.
Freedom of choice, informed consent, pro-medical freedom. What they're doing is medical fascism. It's not right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Lauren Leahy. And I just want to go over again why we're here today. The New York City DOE Parents Coalition is here because we are making demands of the New York City Department of Education. Our demands are behind you for the media that just came in. Why are we organized and rallying? We're organized and rallying because the DOE is listening to the UFT and being controlled by the UFT as a union in how it is operating. When we all know as parents that the DOE should be serving our children. So we are here to give our own counteroffer to Mayor de Blasio and the Chancellor. And if he doesn't accept it, he's going to lose an awful lot of children out of the New York City DOE. And when children are homeschooled and pulled out of the DOE, what happens to the federal dollars? They're gone. So, Mr. de Blasio, if you think that the UFT is a difficult union to deal with, try dealing with the parents. All right, our next speaker is Elizabeth Glass. Elizabeth Glass, where are you? All right, there she is.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes. Thank you. It's a privilege to be here today. Thank you so much. The reason I'm standing before you today is because my campaign for New York State Senate in Manhattan's District 27 showed the world that if we unite the people, we can take back power. As an unknown, completely inexperienced grassroots candidate, my campaign ended. Okay, as an unknown, inexperienced grassroots candidate, my campaigin ended.
No, this one.
Oh, this one?
I put it right directly to your mouth.
Gotta get those Staten Island pipes, right? Okay, as an unknown, inexperienced.
Closer.
Like that?
Yeah.
As an unknown, inexperienced grassroots candidate, my campaign ended the state-level career of the second most powerful Democrat in Albany. How did we do it? We united the people. That's right. And this is not a Republican versus Democrat issue. This is a freedom versus tyranny issue we're dealing with right now. And just as a footnote to what that nice doctor was saying, that this vaccine is liability free. So if you or your child are killed or injured by the vaccine, there's no one you can sue. It's because of the PREP Act. Okay. So I ran for office. Yes. I ran for office because our state is in crisis. Right now, Governor Cuomo and the majority of Albany reps have stopped representing the people and only represent Bill Gates and his friends.
Yes.
That's right.
Say it again. Like this, the microphone like this.
And they're aided by the lies of the mainstream media. Sorry, NBC, I know you're here. I was not in politics at all, but in June of 2019, the two youngest of my four kids, I'm gonna put this right here. The two youngest of my four kids were kicked out of school along with 26,000 other kids because of what's called the repeal of the religious exemption, a bill that was sponsored by my state senator, Brad Hoylman, who's also running for Manhattan Borough President now. Should you vote for him? No. Vote for this guy over here. Due to the repeal, a bill sponsored by the repeal meant that no vaccines, no school for New York kids. And unlike in previous generations, kids today get 72 doses of 16 vaccines in order to attend school. And my former opponent was also sponsoring a bill to mandate the Gardasil shot for all 9-year-olds in the state, and 2 bills to make it so kids could get shots without parental knowledge or consent. And a similar bill just passed in DC. So there's a precedent that's dangerous for all of our kids. So these bills infuriated parents across the state. So we united the people and we looked to find someone to challenge him, but we couldn't find anyone to challenge him. And then I found out from workers in New York City schools that they were giving Gardasil to children at school without parental knowledge or consent. And that's a fact. Governor Cuomo snuck it. What's that?
That's coercion of a minor. You should be put in jail.
Governor Cuomo snuck into the Department of Health regulations to do that. And so it's absolute child abuse. So we couldn't find someone to challenge him. So I decided to challenge him myself. So, just so you know, Gardasil, if you look at the package insert, it lists death and paralysis as side effects on the package insert. So it's a very, very dangerous shot. That, though I believe in medical freedom. So we couldn't find someone, so I decided, So we got 34% of the in-person vote, and so because of that in the Democratic primary, so our campaign exposed his political vulnerability, and he subsequently announced that he would not be seeking re-election in 2022. Because here's the deal, if we do not have the right to control what is injected into our bodies, we are slaves.
That's right.
Okay, and if there's one thing my campaign showed the world, that if they are going to treat Americans like slaves, we are going to fight back. That's the deal. So we must continue to fight because of this bill A11179. And I put on my social... That bill is to mandate... It's a very, very, very dangerous bill because it's very vaguely written. Bills need to be very specific because when they're vague, that's when we lose our rights. Yes?
Your assembly person tells you it's frozen. There's nothing happening with it.
Right, because what they do is they put something out there and they want to see what the response is. Okay, and so they want to see, well, how will people respond to this bill?
Recall our
Yes. Testing the ground.
I think we need to tell people that this bill exists, because the same reps who are in Albany right now when we lost, they're all pro-forced vax. They're all still there. So unless we let them know how we feel about it, it will pass. And because, you know, the big problem is we have the king of syringes, Governor Cuomo, who said that the goal is to vaccinate all of us. He said that numerous times, and he's in control, and the Democrats control the Senate.
Vaccinated. The first day fully vaccinated. So you know what that means? It's going to mandate it.
And they've already talked about it. It's an experimental, liability-free, unsafe product developed at warp speed, skipped animal testing, and he announced that schools are going to be a mass vaccination site. Despite the fact that children are largely unaffected by COVID. And de Blasio and Carranza have said that the New York City middle school and high school students cannot go back until there's a vaccine. It's terrible. So COVID was a Trojan horse to usher in Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, the Great Reset, the New World Order. I understand that teachers are worried about their pensions, but that's not going to matter when we become a cashless society. If you don't follow their rules, they're going to take your money away anyway. So they have a horrific and sinister plan for humanity, and the government has been weaponized against us. The public schools, unfortunately, are a subset of the government, and this is not just a New York issue. Please see my post on social media about the U.S. Department of Education's non-emergency invasive physical examinations. It's absolutely horrific. You have to read it. This is a global agenda, and they're doing it across the country. As well as my post about Bill Gates' horrific reimagined education with their medical interventions and their isolation rooms, where volunteers are welcome to come into the schools, but for some reason parents are not.
Yeah, right.
I stand with the teachers, but our priority must be our children. Yes. We are at war. We need to protect our kids from these fascists controlling our government and properly educate them with critical thinking skills. So when this is all said and done, and Bill Gates and his friends are arrested, thrown in jail, for their crimes against humanity, and their assets are seized, Future generations will build from these ashes a country where this will never ever happen again.
Amen.
So as Americans, we were born free. Read the Bill of Rights and do not comply. Do not comply with Bill Gates, with Governor Cuomo's unconstitutional executive orders. You can wear a mask if you want, but do not comply. Do not comply with testing. Oh, and the testing, be very careful. The testing is, it's not approved for asymptomatic people. And they also could be, farm animals are vaccinated with Q-tips in the nose. So be very careful about testing.
Right.
I'm Elizabeth Glass. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Don't assume. Do not assume.
It's on YouTube right now.
All right, everybody. I want to thank Elizabeth came here from the city. And I want all of us to acknowledge the fact that we have different candidates from different places here. This is a fight for our children, and this is very important to understand that this is our common ground. This is where we come together and say, this is where we could stand together. This is our common ground. Don't let them divide us, okay? This is our common ground right here, our children. Fight for them. They are worth every bit of it. Thank you, guys. Exactly. They divide us and they control us. We should not be controlled like this. They work for us. They work for us. We pay their salaries with our taxes, and they seem to forget that. They work for us. Don't ever forget it.
Being incentivized from someplace else.
Yeah. Renee is here from New York Teachers for Choice, and she wanted to say a few words to you. She is also someone who's an advocate and a parent, and she wants us to understand that the teachers are on our side. Renee, I would like for you to come and say a few words. Thank you.
Hi. I'm a Staten Island parent of 3 public school children. I'm also a public school teacher, and 2 of my children still attend the public school where I teach, and I am a steering committee member of New York City Teachers for Choice. I just want to tell you a little bit of what's actually happening in the schools right now when your children are being tested. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you somebody comes to pick your child up and calls them out of the room like tribute for Hunger Games. The kids are afraid. It is not a traumatic test. The experience is traumatic because it feels strange. And everybody knows it's strange. Everybody knows it's weird. There is coercion going on. That is happening. And what's more is that if this was really being used for safety, it wouldn't be done the way it's being done. Here's why. If this was being done for safety, they would be testing as wide a swath of students and staff as possible. They would be testing across as many cohorts as possible. And they're not. They're testing the same people over and over again in the same cohorts. This is happening at many schools. It's not only happening at my school. I've been told by the testers they're getting complaints from many schools. Again, I was told this by the testers, who appear to be very, very young. I don't know what the criteria is for being a trained individual, but they are very young. They arrive in the same car, unmasked, get out and put their garb on, and come in and test. That's what's happening, okay? Furthermore, in a recent interview on Microbiome TV, Dr. Fauci admitted that PCR testing at viral levels over 35 are simply picking up dead nucleotide, non-transmissible, non-culturable virus. PCR tests run to amplification levels of 40. The New York Times published its recent article that 90% of positives are false. New York City is using a known faulty test to determine whether or not your kids can go to school. The jig is up. Michael Mulgrew, you know and I know you've asked us a million questions about what we want, right down to the minute our day ends, but you never asked anybody anything about this. You didn't ask teachers if they wanted to be tested. You haven't asked anybody if they want a vaccine, and not everybody wants it. So stop lying. I hope every parent here here makes it their business to tell everybody they know what is going on. You have to become a relentless repeater of the information. You have to tell every single person that you know until people start to listen.
Right. Yes.
Thank you, Renee. Renee from New York Teachers of Choice. I really appreciate it. We have someone handing out a flyer right now. If you guys saw it, they can't pay the rent, can't feed your kids, losing your job or business, afraid of a forced vaccine, and the lockdowns now. Sunday rally and December 20th in Union Square Park, right here. Everybody see this? Make sure you, right there. I would like to introduce Joe Calderera, who wants to come speak. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, everybody. I'll say the best words you could hear on a day like today. I'll be brief. How's everybody feeling? You guys angry yet? Yeah. Are you mad yet? Yeah. Are you going to take it or are you going to fight back? That's what I like to hear. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here today. You know, I'd like to start out by saying that there are so many different definitions of freedom out there, but I like George Orwell's. Freedom is the right to say no! Yeah. And what we've seen from the administrations, the mayor and the governor over these past few months, this summer, this fall, that they're making decisions behind our backs in small rooms, closed doors, without the government's input. And that's unacceptable. And I'm so proud to be here today and to see that more than 240 years from the founding of our nation, that it's Staten Islanders who are still standing up and defending freedom. Yeah. And that really shouldn't be much of a surprise because we always seem to be on the front lines of any of these marches and any of these movements and these demonstrations, and that's the same here today. It's been said that an error does not become a mistake until you refuse to correct it. Well, Mr. Mayor, now is the time to correct it. Yes. The mayor must know that no administration can survive without robust debate. He must know that no democracy can survive without debate either. But decisions like mandatory testing for our students without parental consent are unacceptable. They're made by 5 men in a small back room without input from we, the people. My friends, what we have now is a mayor and a governor who rely on intimidation instead of free choice. We have a mayor and a governor whose dissenters are silenced and not praised. I urge you to keep fighting for your rights and to remember that no citizen should shrink to controversy. I urge all of you to hang together. And in the words of Benjamin Franklin, hang together or you'll surely hang separately. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas. God bless all of you and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you.
We have one more speaker out here. Can you hear me? Is Michelle out here? Where's Michelle? Where's my mommy blogger? She's still here? She left.
Was she here?
Yeah, she was here.
I never saw her.
Oh, she left?
And she wasn't on the...
Okay. All right, here you go.
Oh, okay. We're done?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that is.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Is there anybody else that wanted to speak?
There was a couple of parents that wanted to speak. Is there anybody else that would like to speak?
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause for our men and women in blue. Let's say thank you to them. Let's thank our teachers. And let's thank our incredible parents for freezing because we're standing up for our children's rights. And that is the most important thing any one of us can do. Look out for more rallies. Make sure that you join the NYCDOE Parents Coalition Facebook page. Follow what's going on. We've collected toys.
Thank you very much, everybody. Very much.
Thank you for every toy that you gave. It's going to go to homeless shelters across Staten Island. Remember, your voice can change everything. One voice can change the world. We did it. in 1776, and we're doing it now. So you're fighting for a reason. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your weekend. And thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you. All right. All right, I want to get you with New York.
Guys, don't forget tomorrow, Sunday, in Union Square, Manhattan, we will be having an anti-lockdown rally at 1 o'clock.
That's it.
Please come.
All right.
Yeah, that's 550.
Hello, Tony. How are you?
Everybody thinks I'm
I did not see him. They mentioned. How you doing? Good to see you again. That was a good rally, right?
I hope there's going to be more people. Why aren't the people here? What's going on with the
freezing.
Oh, hello.
It's freezing cold.
No, I just don't know
Take
why.
a photograph, can I?
I know it's cold, but you wear a hat, you wear gloves, you have
Nah,
boots.
I know. People
come
they get
out.
annoyed though, but you know, I think it was a good rally. I think people are becoming aware that the vaccine, mandating any kind of medical stuff, nobody wants that.
No. And untested, unfit. It's very frightening. And I don't think too many people are unaware
Yeah.
still. And aside from us here telling other people, how else can we inform these parents who are locked in their homes and not seeing other relatives or people because they can't go anywhere?
I think people are starting to become aware.
Good.
I think so.
Good. You have a better sense than me because you're Mr. YouTube. So good. Okay, good.
Good to see you again.
You too.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jason.
So everybody's here outside the teachers union. So I think I figured out what was going on with all that radio interference. Look at all those
Wait, hold on, Maria.
things they have up there.
Hold.
I guess they're kind of projecting RF energy right at us. But
Jason, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Do you know if the VAERS system will still be in place?
What system?
The adverse reaction system.
I don't
Adverse
know
event
about that.
reaction.
Tell me what that is.
I'm sorry. That vaccine adverse event reporting system. That's the VAERS system that they use to track, like the lady was talking about, the vaccine court, the 1986 Act that gave pharma liability protection.
Yep.
So there is a system that allows Congress, because the pharmaceutical companies are free from liability, Congress is the one who pays out people who are injured. Who are
there's some fund or something.
who are
right?
it comes out. This is the thing. It comes out of our tax budget. It comes out of the congressional, our tax dollars. So I think it's up to almost $5 billion
that they've paid out
since 30 years ago or whenever it went into effect. So if that system still applies to the COVID vaccine, if people are proven to be injured and they seek damages, they seek a legal
remedy of some
remedy for their injury, and Harvard, in the past 30 years, Harvard has confirmed that it's only 1% of injuries are actually reported.
Wow.
Because doctors are in on it. Doctors are not going to
I don't know that doctors are in on it so much as they're indoctrinated.
They're indoctrinated and they're pressured not to. It's hard to prove.
They
but,
think
yeah.
that we are conspiracy theorists for talking about this, but it's like it's one of these things where an idea first is presented and people think it's crazy, then it gains momentum, and then people start to realize, wait a minute, there's something to this. I think we're getting close to that tipping point.
Well, yeah, it's just a matter of sticking to what we can prove objectively, and even that's not good enough when people just, I'm going through this with my family. I just had a cousin who's a nurse who got vaccinated, and I'm praying for her safety, and it's
just got vaccinated for COVID.
Yeah,
and so days ago,
I just expressed my concern to her,
What is she saying? How does she feel?
She's basically shaming me for expressing any doubt or any concern about its safety.
This is what we go through, day in and day out, and we have to persist, and it's very difficult for me. I'm sensitive. And I don't want to be shunned by my family, by everyone I know, and and yet, I have to keep up with it. It's just, but then when I meet with people like here, then I I'm uplifted. So I mean, yeah.
I mean, as someone who's my son is on the autism spectrum, and I endeavored to cure him, so I really understand the truth about the vaccine agenda.
Sure. Yeah,
and it's incredible how there's just two realities.
Yeah, but I do believe there's another angle to it, which is the economic angle. It's basically extortion. If our tax dollars are going to be paying off for the remedies and for the damages that people get from this shot, that's extortion. And on top of that,
paying for a whole bunch of crap.
if they're going to invoke the Jacobson versus Massachusetts decision that allowed them to issue fines, if they invoke that decision from the Supreme Court to issue fines for refusers of the vaccine, that's another level of extortion from people who.
The problem I have with that Jacobson versus Massachusetts.
Of course.
I first learned about that when I interviewed Alan Dershowitz.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And he raised that issue. So
you were so funny in that interview.
Thank you. The real problem is.
Wait. What did you? Yeah.
By the time the Supreme Court had ruled on that, the vaccine had already been in use for over 100 years.
That was the smallpox?
The smallpox vaccine. It was the first vaccine ever developed.
Right.
And 106 years into its use, there was a good understanding of its safety, of its efficacy, how well tolerated it was by people. That is dramatically different than what we're dealing with right now.
But the decision did not say that the state had a right to force the shot. It was just the right to issue fines.
You gotta understand how lawyers work.
Right.
Lawyers work by planting stakes in the ground, and that becomes established law. Like you've heard this term, established science. There is no such thing as established science.
Oh yeah, it's
because some scientists
it's a complete unscientific
could discover
idea.
some new particle, some new force of energy that would fundamentally change our understanding of the universe. But with the law, once law is established, that now becomes the flagpole in the ground that we refer to. So this is what tricky people like Alan Dershowitz and legislators and governors are trying to do. They're trying to establish that stake in the ground so they can say, oh, well, this is the vaccine. It's been established as the vaccine. So a vaccine, from a legal standpoint, inoculates other people. You don't have a choice whether or not you get to take it. They're not going to the scientific root of, does this thing work and what does it do to other people?
Another angle legally is international law. And when I went to the New York State Assembly, I contacted every member of the Health Committee, and I invoked the United Nations Declaration on Bioethics and Human Rights.
Right, that works.
Bioethics and
UNESCO,
it's under the UNESCO website. Right. You can find it. It's Article 6, the Declaration on Bioethics and Human Rights. Article 6.
Do you have a Twitter or Instagram?
My name's Kevin Connor. You can find me KevC, C-E-E. But if you invoke and a lot of us know that the United Nations is very much in bed with this agenda with the World Economic Forum. But people like Alan Dershowitz and Bill Gates, they're in bed with the UN and these people in the State Assembly and Cuomo, everybody else. So if you invoke the international law according to the people that they bow down to, then you're showing them that they're contradicting themselves in terms of international law.
That. That's smart.
Are
you a lawyer?
I'm not a lawyer. It's just my dad's a lawyer, but
that's smart though. I like that.
But
that's exactly right.
Right. How is it? So
that's the United Nations.
Right.
So it's an important question. The Constitution, the legality.
You gotta trap them in their own trick.
And that's what I did. I spoke to them on the phone. I said, I would like to know how the State Assembly plans to uphold our rights under international law.
And they're like,
that's informed consent. That's the Nuremberg Code written in international law.
I'll tell you that when Del Bigtree mentioned that to Dershowitz rolled his eyes. And I felt that indicated that a court, like a U.S. district court, would not hear that. That would not sway the court.
Probably not. Probably not. Well, just look at the elections. We already know how corrupt the courts are.
Right.
But this is the thing. I think the most important court is the court of public opinion here. Right?
Hey.
It's true.
And if we expose them and how much they're contradicting themselves, then that gives us much more power to
Well, that's why I feel like the people who are telling everyone to call your reps, call your assembly member, call Cuomo, call the senators, it's a waste of time because it's bought and sold for already. So the way that we fight this, is to tell everyone I call it the A1179 action plan, to just tell your networks that this is happening, because the people cannot rise up if they don't know. This is bought and sold for. Someone interrupted my speech. She had a valid point. She said, my assembly person said that this is not moving. And I said, because these reps, forgive this analogy, but they're like a snake. They're like this. And they went, oh, no one's thinking about it. They're going to and pass that bill. That's how that's going to work. So, I have experience because the person that that was supposed to sponsor the bill, my campaign ended his state-level career as Hoylman. So everyone's like, why is Linda Rosenthal sponsoring this? And I said it's because Brad's retiring from the Senate. So, no, it's okay. That's all. So that's my opinion about it. So it's,
So people can find you, Elizabeth Glass.
Elizabeth Glass, glassforsenate.com. And I'm very active on social media. I talk about this. And this is not just New York State. This is a unit. Bye, please. Thank you. The U.S. Department of Education website has wording in it. This is very shocking, and I've been telling people in the movement, and they're traumatized when they see it. United States Department of Education, the website, has wording that it's called non-emergency invasive physical examinations, that they can do whatever they want to children at school. And I'm telling people about it, and it's okay. So that's why I came here actually to talk about that, to put it on record, because everyone's going to be like, well, why you knew about it, why didn't you tell anyone?
You're telling everyone?
Telling everyone now, Glass for Senate. Yeah, I mean, this doesn't affect New York kids, because I hate to say this, but unless kids homeschool, they're going to have big problems in New York State schools, because this is going to go through. But they already do it. That's why I tell my story. They already force vaccines on kids. Why not adults? Do you know what I mean? It's like talking about that legal precedent you're talking about. There's already a legal precedent. They force vaccines on children in New York State. So why not adults? It doesn't make any sense that you would do one and not the other. It's just like in World War II in Nazi Germany.
Like
they did it to the kids first. And then said, well, we did it to the kids. Why not adults?
They're going like gangbusters, and at a certain point, the public are going to be more receptive. If they keep up like gangbusters like this, the public are going to have some of their defenses down to listen to us a little more.
I think that's happening. I think it is. I think there's a lot of people who used to, the first step is they want to make it binary. They want to say, oh, you're anti-vax. It's either vax or anti-vax. But that's not it. We just want safety, honesty, transparency. Yeah, I think everybody is clearing out. So,
yeah, it was great.
Elizabeth, it was good to see you.
Good talking to you, too.
Well spoken.
Thank you.
Thank you for your words. I think the police are leaving now, and that's basically.
Come arrest us now.
Yeah, well, that's been the protest. Actually, I want to speak to the guy who's running for mayor.
Back?
No, I've got a card. Thank you.
Sure.
No, I think what you said was perfect.
But I think what you said was absolutely perfect, because you know what? This is what you're going to do.
Is that a problem?
Can I talk to you briefly about running for mayor?
Absolutely. Of course.
Bill, sorry, what was your mark? I forgot your name. I'm sorry.
Bill Pepitone.
Bill Pepitone. I had it right the first time. So
Okay.
we need a new mayor.
Yes, we do.
Have you ever
Absolutely.
held a political office before?
Yes, I was a councilman in Pennsylvania after my retirement from the police department for a short time. So I've been in the political arena before.
Oh, you were in the police department. What?
Yes,
police?
I'm a retired New York City police officer.
You look like you could kick ass, I have to tell you. When you went up there, you reminded me of Rocky a little bit.
It's the jacket, probably.
Yeah.
It's a cold day.
But
cold day.
So how are you doing when did you start this campaign?
We started back in June when the riots were going on in the city. I decided to get involved politically again. And we've been running hard since June. We've gotten a lot of support, made a lot of connections. We've reached every borough so far. We've got a lot of work to do, long way to go. But it's been a ground roots campaign from the beginning, and we're moving forward. We're working hard.
And who is considered right now the front runner? Do they have?
Well, on the Democratic side, I think you have a bunch of names, people that have been in political office here in New York for a while.
Yeah.
But with those names comes a lot of baggage, because the situation we're in New York right now, a lot of it is their fault. So I don't know if there's a front runner on the Democratic side. Right now, I'm the only Republican who has filed and registered. So I don't know if there's a front runner yet.
Well, I want people to know about your campaign. How can they learn about you? I think you mentioned it before.
Yeah, you can go to my Facebook page, Bill Pepitone for New York City Mayor. You can go to my website, BillPepitoneForNewYorkCityMayor.com. I'm on Twitter at Pepitone for NYC, and Instagram, Bill Pepitone for New York City Mayor.
Will you debate de Blasio? Can we arrange that?
I'll debate anybody, whoever I have to.
Yeah,
wherever I have
absolutely.
to. Yes.
Well, I definitely want to learn more about the campaign, and I
Thank you.
definitely want to support a conservative mayor.
Thank you.
You seem like a good guy to me,
Thank you.
so I'm
Thank you.
glad to
I
have met
appreciate
you,
that.
and
Thank you.
good luck with the campaign.
Thank you very much.
Take
Appreciate
care.
it. Nice
Thanks
meeting
for
you.
coming out
I have
today.
a card for you if you
Oh,
want.
absolutely. That'll be great.
My wife has.
Yeah. So Bill Peppertone running for mayor. That's cool. Hi.
Hi, Lee.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Pleasure meeting you.
Absolutely. You too, Bill. Take care.
Stay
Good luck
safe,
running
everybody.
for mayor.
Thank you.
All right. So there we go. Thanks for coming out today, everybody.
Because I have a biologist coming on.
I think that's going to be it here from the Department of Education, the United Federation of Teachers. It is so cold. I'm sure Charles will have something to say about me not wearing a hat, and my mom will have something to say about that. But it's a good thing I had the wired microphone with me. That was amazing radio interference. Oh, there's even more of those things on top of the building. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I don't even want to take the gloves off right now because it's just so cold. But please become a sponsor if you aren't already. You can go to subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. It's a huge help. There's a lot of social engineers trying to shut the channel down. I want those people to think about how terrible they are for doing that, you know. Why can't you just leave me alone and let me do what I'm doing? We're trying to bring people information here from the New York City Teachers for Choice, NY Teachers, FOR Choice.org. I hope the car didn't get towed. I think I parked it legally. Getting your car towed is a massive pain in the ass. I'm sorry I was late. There was actually a problem with this rental car that delayed me about half an hour, unfortunately, but I think we got the bulk of the meeting covered. And I really appreciate what the New York Teachers for Choice are trying to do. I will be signing off for now. I'll see everybody tomorrow for Sunday with Charles. Thanks for tuning in.